This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Welcome back, Lynners. I hope you enjoyed a relaxing holiday weekend, because we are diving right back into the action. Much of the news this week was state and regionally focused, between grand announcements, updates to Kings Beach, and statewide school policy. While videos this week focused on the 4th of July festivities. The Lowdown directs us back to state and federal policies, as described by our guests, the Mass Senior Action Council. But I won't keep you in suspense any longer. Here's the news for Friday, July 11th, 2025. The state has officially passed H4227, giving Leo's Broad Street Preschool a $2.7 million boost. This was one of the largest educational lines in the budget and ensures that their first years in the building will not be crippled by overwhelming debt. This 3,200 square foot, ADA compliant early education center opened at 156 Broad Street in March of 2025. It has 15 classrooms, 8 of which operate year-round, used to educate 270 children. Leo is also the largest early childhood education provider in the city, including Lynn Public Schools. In their 60 years of operation, their programs have prepped more than 13,000 children to begin their educational journey. According to Leo CEO Brigitte Davis, quote, the $2.7 million will be used to help pay off their construction loans. This enables us to pay down that debt, and it helps us with the funding gap that we had. It's a huge relief to us, end quote. Davis went on to thank the entire state legislature, with a special thanks to those representing the North Shore for all their support. Several dozen people gathered at the Grace Methodist Church on Monday, July 1st, to discuss the Federal Emergency Management Agency MAP updates, which went into effect on July 8th. The maps are updated every 10 years, with the new map showcasing special flood hazard areas, known as 100-year or 1% chance of flooding. SFHAs are where floodplain management regulations are enforced, and where flood insurance is mandatory. The 3 major impacts for the parcels are building code, meaning new construction must meet state building code regulations for flood-resistant construction. Construction activities within the SFHA must receive a permit from the Conservation Commission, and federally backed mortgages will require flood insurance. However, many community members expressed frustration over the city's lack of communication over the FEMA map updates. Lynn kept up traditions this 4th of July, beginning with NSJA's reading of Frederick Douglass's What to the Slave is the 4th of July. Fittingly, it took place at Frederick Douglass Park, but the highlight this year was the unveiling of a new wayfinding sign, a collaboration between the City of Lynn, the state delegation, DCR, and several nonprofits. It details the story of Douglass during his time in Lynn.
Welcome everyone to the North Shore Juneteenth Association's Frederick Douglass event. We are gathered here today to unveil a wayfinding sign that honors Frederick Douglass and commemorates the time that he lived here in Lynn, Massachusetts.
Growing up in Lynn, one of the earliest things we learned about was our greatest resident here in the city of Lynn, Frederick Douglass, and it's so wonderful, many years later to see that legacy not only living on but growing and expanding and teaching all of our young people about his legacy.
When Douglass came here in 1841, he'd just been hired as an agent by the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society. The railroad tracks in those days weren't elevated, they ran along the ground, and he lived just off Harrison Court, which was really the entrance to the MBTA station. He lived in a little house there, and in that house, but he wrote an American masterpiece. This book he wrote right here, Frederick Douglass in Time, became the most famous black person in the world.
In 1852, Douglass delivered one of the most important speeches, which we will be reciting today. What to the slave is the 4th of July? He asked a haunting question: how can a nation celebrate freedom while millions remain in bondage? He said, this 4th of July is yours, not mine. And yet he did not reject the ideals of liberty and justice. He believed in them deeply, and he challenged America to live up to them for everyone, just as we are challenging America to do that today.
I think it should remind us to think about what reflection should we offer in moments where our compatriots are celebrating, when we know there's issues that we are confronting as a community and as a nation.
He reminded us, without struggle, there is no progress. Today, we are once again in a struggle, not only for progress, but to protect the gains we've already made. As of today, this sign would not be allowed at a national park. The question before us is not solely one of progress. It is fundamentally one of values. In Lynn, we take great pride in our historic connection to Frederick Douglass and the role our city played in his journey. It is with pride and a sense of purpose that we now finally unveil this sign.
From there, residents turned to the ocean for a concert by the Dirty Floorboards at Red Rock Park, followed by the fireworks show. A video of the full fireworks display is available on our website, lyntv.org, but here is a clip. The galleries at Lynn Arts are currently looking for submissions for their upcoming exhibit, D is for Disrupt. They invite you to break rules and bend norms through art. This exhibit will celebrate rebellion in personal, political, cultural, or conceptual arenas. Gala is seeking artists who step outside of comfort, challenge norms, and push back against power. All mediums are welcome, including but not limited to painting, media, collage, photography, video, and sculpture. While the traditional definition means to interrupt or break the flow or cause turmoil, the term disrupt has taken on a new meaning in modern times, including challenging the status quo and introducing bold new ideas. The City of Lynn is beginning the first phase of their new trash and recycling barrel distribution this month in specific parts of the city. Phase 1 will begin the weeks of July 21st and July 28th and are scheduled to be completed by August 2nd. Residents should check the full list to see if their street is being affected. For all those in the affected areas, they should leave their old barrels at the curb on their regularly scheduled trash days so crews can retrieve them. Keep your barrel curbside even if they've been emptied so they can be retrieved. Barrels on private property cannot be taken. There may also be a 1 to 2 day delay between trash pickup and bin collection, but if your barrels are not collected or you do not receive new ones, contact the DPW at the conclusion of the rollout period. As an additional note, the new barrels will be the same size as the old ones, and pickup schedules remain unchanged. Kings Beach has been a topic of discussion for years, from community forums to government meetings at the city, town, and state levels. To this end, the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce hosted a Clean Water, Stronger Communities, the Future of Kings Beach Forum at their government affairs meeting last week. Panelists included State Senator Brendan Crichton, City of Lynn Ward 3 Councilor Coco Allen-Sugg, State Representative Jenny Armini, and Acting Town Administrator for Swampscott, Gino Cresta. They were specifically discussing the UV pilot program, which began in May and will run until the end of August. Take a look.
That it's kind of a two-part thing. We need to take care of the landside issues with our water and sewer infrastructure to make sure that we're not allowing bacteria to enter through those outfalls and to come out at Stacy's Brook outfall. But we also need to then treat the water to make sure that it is swimmable. And we weighed every possible option, and the one that I think scored the highest and made the most sense in terms of how long it takes to solve and how much it will cost to solve and its effectiveness was our UV plan, which
we're actually stopping the water before it gets out onto the ocean with weir walls. Once the water's stopped, we're pumping it through a UV system, cleaning it, and then we send it out on the other side of the weir wall. We know it's working because testimony to the UV pilot, on July 3rd, when we got a little bit of rain after the fireworks, most of the beaches were closed, and the one with the blue flags was Kings Beach, which is amazing because historically it's been one of the two dirtiest beaches, at least in the Commonwealth, at least here on the North Shore.
All I would say is that what you're seeing down there is not what a permanent site looks like. So don't get that into your head. It will be a structure of some sort, and the technology, the equipment will be housed within the structure. And as the senator said, there needs to be a site selection process to figure out, where something like that would even go.
So there's reports coming about testing of all of the ponds and lakes, from Goldfish Pond to Floating Bridge, down to every households and residences. In fact, every meeting we have, they will identify a specific house that had an issue and had a legal connection, and we constantly go there until they fix it. So as far as Lynn is concerned, we're very proactive with that approach.
Last Tuesday, the 8th, the Healy-Driscoll administration announced that participation in school meals continued to climb for the 2024-25 school year, the third year of state-supported universal free school lunches. Preliminary data for the most recent 2024-25 school year showed an increase of 11,000 students eating lunch every day, with an increase of 20,000 having breakfast. In the 2023-24 year, there was also an increase of 8.3 million meals served when compared to the 2022-23 data. This means 7 out of 10 students in Massachusetts eat a free and healthy breakfast or lunch at school. In the second year of this program, which spanned the 2023-24 school year, there was a total of 101.7 million lunches served to 584,000 students, and 48.6 million breakfasts to 272,000 students. Additionally, the incorporation of locally sourced foods into the meals supports both the students and the state economy by allowing districts to identify local and affordably sourced means for school meals. As the Navigator season enters the final weeks, they are 9-17 and on a 3-game losing streak. Most recently, they lost 4-1 and 1-13, both to the Sanford Mainers on July 5th and 7th. Well, the Red Sox have reached 5 games over 500 at 50 and 45. Right now, they are also riding a 7-game winning streak behind some strong hitting. Most recently, they hosted and swept the Colorado Rockies in a 3-game series at Fenway. The Sox scored 29 runs, winning 9-3 on the 7th and 10-2 on both the 8th and the 9th. On the 8th, it was tied through 5 innings, but the Sox broke it open from there, scoring 4 in the 6th and 6 in the 7th, including a 3-run monster shot by Trevor Story and a 2-run homer from Jarren Duran. But the highlight of that night was Sox pitcher Brian Bayo recording his first complete game of his career, going all 9 innings, striking out 10, and only giving up 2 runs on 107 pitches. Then in the finale, Duran, Wilyer Abreu, Carlos Narvaez, and Romy Gonzalez all homered, accounting for 8 of the 10 runs scored. You may already be familiar with the Mass Senior Action Council. Their iconic blue shirts and support of their members are their trademarks. But I will let them tell you more in this episode specifically focused on Social Security. Good afternoon and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and today we welcome on the Mass Senior Action Council, 2 of their members. Thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you, Danny, for having us. We love being here and sharing all the work that we're doing in the community and in the state.
Oh, yes.
My name's Pam Edwards, and I'm Director of Organizing.
Great.
Thank you, Danny, for having us. My name is Debbie Craig, and I am the Secretary of the North Shore Chapter of the Mass Senior Action Council.
And we were actually just discussing before we came on, you're the 2nd largest chapter in the state, only Boston is a little bit more, and you're also celebrating 44 years, which is amazing.
That is correct.
Yes, we're very excited and proud of the work that we've been able to do to improve the lives of seniors and our communities across the state.
So you already answered my next question of what your main goals are, but you just said it, so I guess we'll just hop right in. I know one thing that's been a big point to talk about in general is Medicare, so lowering costs, what's been happening with some of the offices, and I know that was something that you definitely wanted to speak about.
Yeah, so several years ago, we worked with UMass Gerontology to do a study, and we found that Massachusetts ranks 50th for senior income security. So that means out of all 50 states, seniors in Massachusetts are the least secure financially.
Yeah.
And mainly, those costs derive from healthcare, housing, and transportation. Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of our focus is trying to relieve those cost burdens.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And I know you were specifically talking about the QMB program. That was the specific graphic that I know you sent to us. So what was that for people who aren't familiar, which I'm not?
Right. So the QMB program is part of one of the tiers of the Medicare Savings Program. This is to relieve people on Medicare. This is not insurance. It is a program that is run by the state with help, financial support through the federal government. This will help people in the certain income as shown, $2,498 for a single person and $3,368. This is very important because whenever we started this Medicare Savings Program, seniors that were over $1,900 got zero help. But 64 and under could have triple that amount of income and still get help.
Oh.
So now, anybody that is in this program, they should have zero out-of-pocket expenses for any Medicare procedure in their monthly. The only time that they should have is minor costs for co-payments on prescription. If they're on this program and a provider bills them, we're asking them not to pay it. We're working with the AG's office to clear up any miscommunication and to let all providers know that it is illegal to bill anyone that's on that program.
But it is still a challenge because there's so many people that are getting billed, and the state is fighting hard to figure out why this is happening. It's coming directly from the Medicare office, and hopefully within today's political environment, there won't be more cuts there and take longer for people to get their bills straightened out.
Yeah, because I mean, and medical bills too, they're so complicated. I've gotten bills before and gone, I genuinely don't know what half of this means. So you have to figure out that element of it as well, what you're being charged for, what you should be, how that whole situation works. And as you were mentioning too, there's been cuts with Medicare, Social Security offices, there's these huge cuts that are obviously really negatively affecting people who are who rely on that money to live, right?
Yes, so right now, the way Medicaid and Medicare works is money comes from the federal government to help with those programs. When Medicaid money is then matched by the state at a certain amount. So what Congress is saying is that those cuts are not going to happen for 2.5 years. So we are trying to beef up the state's ability to keep these cornerstones in place and to make sure people that need health care have health care. And we are looking at some different ways to raise revenue so that it's not on the backs of the most vulnerable, and to try to move that gauge from 6 and 10 seniors. We don't want to put a bigger burden on the ones that are already flat out.
I know. The one, yeah, I said that just got put up there. And then also another thing that you mentioned that before, but another thing that you mentioned was also when you were speaking about higher property taxes for seniors, saying they don't really have control over like the assets, like how things are assessed. So that can be really a struggle too, where if they still have the higher taxes, but now they're not getting the income, and it's not going to match. The math doesn't work, right?
Exactly. And it's not only the homeowners, but it's the renters, which are many in the city of Lynn. What some of them may not realize is as property taxes go up for the mortgagee, the owner of their home, that's going to get passed on to the renter in their higher rents. So it's an important issue that everybody needs to pay attention to, and everybody needs to try to jump in and see what we can do to lower those taxes.
Yeah, it was mentioned on one of your graphics you said the income guidelines were too low. So what was that? What did that mean?
So the city has worked with Mass Senior Action ever since about 2021 to try to update the relief that is offered by the city to certain groups that are on fixed income.
Okay.
So like there's the senior work-off program that got tripled. It was $500, now it's $1,500. And you can go to City Hall and volunteer some hours. How many hours, Debbie, do you put in?
It's 105 hours a year.
A year. And then as long as you have your application in by April 1, you can get placed with your talent, your skills, your interest, and work those hours, and then you get $1,500 right off of your property tax bill.
Oh, wow.
That can be huge for many people. But we still are looking at assessed values, because the property owner, and truly even the residents of the city, do not have any control over what that assessed value. And if you look at how much the city is charging per square for property taxes, it has truly went down. It's down almost $6 than what it was 4 or 5 years ago. But the assessed values are up 50, 75, 120,000.
Right. Yeah.
So we're not seeing it, and we are not against fair taxes. No. Mass Senior Action appreciates taxes. We love sidewalks, senior centers, and so we know the good that can be done. It's just that we have to figure out a fair way to do it.
Right.
And we've been in Lynn locally working on that. Our Boston chapter has done a lot. And then now we're going statewide. And again, as Debbie said, landowners, whether it's renters, whomever, senior homeowners, and we're specifically looking at 60 and over property taxes.
Oh, okay.
And Lynn, like other cities around us, bigger, it's same size, Peabody, Salem, we don't have any industry. We have 90% residential tax rate. So it's much harder for us to raise more revenue because we have no businesses coming in.
Yeah, you can't balance it out
No.
with larger revenue stream. So, and you actually ran to my next topic as well, really well, talking about statewide is Mass Senior Action. Also you said you joined a lawsuit against Social Security in DOES, which is about Social Security, all the changes being made, the longer wait times, closing of offices, later checks, which obviously all have incredibly negative effects, especially on seniors who rely on it.
Yes, so on April 1st, we kicked off the announcement of this, that Mass Senior Action was asked to join as plaintiffs in a national lawsuit. Our partners in Justice on Aging, which are attorneys who really focus on senior services, 65 and over, health care, long-term care, the things people depend on, they asked us to join them because what was announced and what happened is they wanted to reduce Social Security Administration by 7%, but now it's up to 12%. And they couldn't do it by, cutting Debbie and other seniors' Social Security check, at least yet. But what they're doing, instead of, saying, oh, hey, I cut your check, they're cutting your access. When you close offices and lay off people who answer the phone, whenever you lay off people who do the computer tech, that is negatively impacting the people that have earned these benefits. Let's be honest, earned these benefits.
Right.
So we had a woman that was on hold for 7 hours. 7 hours. And the reason she was on the phone is because her check comes on a certain day and it hadn't come for 5 days and her rent was due. So we had a woman who had been being overpaid and didn't realize it because it's direct deposit. And a lot of seniors just, they pay their rent. Yeah, they pay their rent and they know that they don't have that much money anyway, so it's not like they're budgeting or balancing their checkbook every month.
Right.
By the time they got up to her, it was in March, after some things had happened. And used to what would happen if there was a mistake and an overpayment, they would not take more than 10% until you paid off. Boom, they took her whole $1,200. $1,200, not $6,000. She's only getting $1,200 anyway.
Right.
And she was going to be short the next month too. So that's the kind of things that our lawsuit is trying to stop. So if anyone was trying to go through the portal, through the website, and that crashed, that's been happening. If there's been a mistake on their check, please call us, and we can, that's the way that we win things, is through people's personal experience and stories.
And you have to call them in order to get an appointment. You have to have an appointment to go down there and talk to them, and just trying to get the appointment with them is jumping through hoops. And a lot of these people, this is their only income that they're going to be having. And if they have to wait months for it, they do get behind in their rent, they're not eating, they're not paying their medical. It's a real issue for seniors.
Yeah, it affects every single aspect of their lives, like you said.
And the real people that are going to feel it are the folks who are applying for the first time, who are turning 65, or who just became, maybe disabled, and they're getting ready to go on there. Or a parent who loses the other parent or partner, and that child needs that income from the lost parent. Those are the people that are really going to be burdened.
You said anyone who is burdened can call you, reach out to you, and really connect.
Yes.
It's all about getting the people involved, getting the voices louder.
Yes, yeah. And prior to these cuts, Social Security Administration proved that it has less than 3% fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's nothing. And they were already working at a 50% less staffing than they were 5-6 years ago. Yet, we're hitting the baby boomer generation.
More people applying, more people needing.
Yes, yes. We're talking millions more between now and 2030.
Right.
Yeah, so if you keep reducing it, then that's just going to make the problem worse and worse and worse, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I know, and I said I have to wrap up now, but I mean, I think have to wrap up in a moment, but again, I do have to thank you both so much for coming on to bring light to these issues, to really show people that there is a place to go if they need help with any of these and more.
Yes, thank you, Danny.
Of course.
Yes, thank you for giving us the time to get those issues out in the open, Danny.
Of course, anytime, and thank you again both so much. And once again, I'm Danny Vittori, this has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Summer farmers markets by the Food Project are back every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Lynn Common. Come stock up on fresh vegetables, fruits, and other homegrown produce from several local farms. SNAP and HIP are acceptable forms of payment, along with cash or card. The markets are also staffed by members of the Food Project if you have any questions about the growing process. These summer markets will run from July 10th through November 20th, before moving back to their winter bi-monthly Saturdays. The Lynn City Police Department is bringing back their monthly Coffee with the Cop event at the Land of 1,000 Hills Coffee Shop. Stop by the cafe on the third Wednesday of each month, beginning next week, July 16th at 10 a.m. Come chat with members of the police department if you have any questions, concerns, or simply wish to learn more about their role in the city. This meet and greet is open to all in the community. Join Friends of Lynn and Nahant Beach for the 2025 Red Rock Park Summer Entertainment Series. These free concerts take place every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m., with the next one scheduled for July 17th. And featuring Richie Rich and 24 Karat Funk. Concerts are weather permitting and open to everyone in the community. Head down to Red Rock Park for a night of free, family-friendly fun. For a full list of performers and dates, visit lyntv.org. This is fittingly the closing act for this week's edition of the news. Summer brings with it a wave of events, both new and old, so be sure to stay tuned for all the latest action and announcements by following us on social media at Lynn Community Television. For recaps of past events, all our news coverage, press releases, and member content, head to lyntv.org. For only videos stretching all the way back to the beginning of LCTV, Lynn Community Television on YouTube is the place for you. I'm Danny Vittori, this is the LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.